Hello and welcome to our presentation of the Digital Mental Health Literacy Hub Phase 2 Requirement Model document. This phase focuses on capturing the system requirements from functional, data, and behavioral perspectives. Besides, this presentation are prepared by Group 10, named Starting 5, and let me introduce my team members. My name is Goh Chang Zhe, and my teammates are Ahmed Ali, Rahman, and Zi Xian.
Hello, Assalamu alaikum. My name is Rahman, and today I'm going to explain you the introduction of the phase 2 report. So basically what we did in phase 2, to overview the phase 2, we have to go through the phase 1, what we did. We identify the key users' needs and functional goals through stakeholder engagement and problem analysis in phase 1. But in phase 2, we translate these requirements into structures. To gain a detailed understanding of requirement modeling of each process in phase 2, we also use UML use case diagram, use case specifications, UML activity diagram, UML domain class diagram, and UML state diagram.
Now, we will present the use case documentation of the Digital Mental Health Literacy Hub, which represent functional perspective of requirements model. This is use case for accessing the self-assessment feature. The process begins when a student selects the self-assessment icon from the dashboard. The system then navigates to the self-assessment page and displays a series of mental health related questions. The student answers each question interactively and submits the response once completed. Based on the answers, the system analyzes and calculates the result, which is then displayed to the student along with personalized suggestions such as self-care tools, virtual support options, and relevant content. Finally, the system securely stores the results in the student's account for the future reference and tracking. This use case is Assess Self-Care Tools, and it shows how a student accesses self-care tools through the system. First, the student selects the Self-Care Tools option from the menu. The system then displays a list of active and approved tools. The student chooses one, and the system loads any past usage history related to that tool. Once selected, the student uses the tools while the system quietly monitors the session in the background. When the student exits the tool, the system records the session details such as the time and the type of tool used. This helps track progress and personalize future support for the student.
Okay, this use case describes how a student interacts with the system to engage with educational modules. The use case starts with system display educational module section. The student will a list of educational material and select a module of to access its content. After going through the material, the student completes the interactive learning session. Then the system records the student achievement. Then the use case ends. This one is the best scenario. If alternative flow is the student exit the module midway, the system will save the learning progress, and then this use case is end. For the exception flow, if the module fail to load, the system will display an error message to the student, and the student is prompt to retry, and then this the normal flow one will execute again. Okay, this use case describes how a student joins a relevant forum based on their interests. The use case starts with display a list of suggested forum topics based on the student preference or past activities. The student select a forum topic they wish to join, and the system will log the selected forum discussion threads. Then the student can choose either to join the forum or not. Then this use case is end. For the alternative flow is the student decide not to join any forum, so the student will navigate back to the dashboard or another section of the system. Then this use case is end, and then the exception flow is the forum failed to load. Then the system display an error message to the student, and then the student is prompt to retry, and then the normal flow one is executed again.
This is the use case for track student mental health progress. The process begins when the staff log into the system successfully and then inputs the data, students' data into the system. The system then analyzes the data and generates reports. The staff then reviews the report and the mental health reviews and decide on actions to initiate a facilitate follow-up or not. This is the use case for book telehealth appointments. So the process begins when a student logs into the system successfully. Then the student books an appointment and submit form the system into the system. Then the system confirms booking and sends session link and provides access to the session link to the students via email or any other platform. And the student accesses the session and reviews the resources during the appointment session.
Hello, my name is Ahmed Ali, and this activity diagram allows mental health professional to manage mental health appointment with a student. After logging in, they access the dashboard to view, update, cancel, or create appointment. The system checks for schedule conflict and show warnings if needed. If any errors occurs, it alerts the user. Once an action is completed, the system updates the data and notifies the student. This ensures smooth delivery of virtual mental health support. This activity diagram describes how the admin manages user count within the system. The admin must first log in and access the user management section. They can view, edit, detective, or delete user profiles. If needed, they can also create new user by filling in the required information and assigning roles such as student or staff. The system validates all inputs and updates the database accordingly if any required data is missing or if data base error occurs, the system informs the admin with an error message.
This use case is view self-assessment results, and here is the natural flow of this use case. After completing an assessment, the system retrieves and displays student mental health status for reflection. It extends the access self-assessment use case, where the student can view results after submit assessment, and included in track student mental health progress, where staff can track progress over time by viewing student self-assessment results.
This is our domain diagram. This domain diagram shows the structure of our mental health system. We have a main user class which is specialized into admin, student, mental health professional. Admins manage user, student, complete self-assessment, and professionals handle telehealth appointment. Relationship shows that one student can do many assessments, and one professional can manage many appointments, and each appointment links on one student and one professionals. Also, can generate more than one log entry. Also, the student can also can view one or more self-core tools and models. The diagram helps us to understand how the user and system components interact in the clear and organized way.
Now, we will present the state transition diagram of the Digital Mental Health Literacy Hub, which represents behavioral perspective of requirements model. Now, I will explain the state transition diagram for the self-assessment feature. The process begins when a student completes the mental health questionnaire. Once submitted, the system calculates a score and categorizes the student into one of three mental health states. If the score is below 50, the status is marked as severe, and the system flags the case, recommending immediate professional support. For score between 50 and 79, the status is moderate, where the system suggests self-care tools and educational resources. If the score is 80 or above, the student is considered healthy, and the system encourages maintenance habits. This state-based system ensures each student receives support tailored to their mental health needs.
Okay, now I'm gonna talk about the state diagram for the account class. This state transition diagram illustrates how a user interacts with the login and password recovery process. The flow begins with when the student users select either create account or forgot password. After the account creation, the user proceeds to login state. If valid credentials are entered, the system grant access and transition to the login success state. Invalid credential leads to the login failed state, where the user can choose to recover their password. Recovery process includes setting a new password and identity verification in the authentication state. If verified, the user is granted access. If not, the system will return to login fail.
In conclusion, in phase 2, we learned a lot: how to create use case diagram, use case specifications, and activity diagram. These tools help us to how to understand system behavior, from the user's perspective and map out system functionality and workflow. Although in our project there is a plenty of rooms for improvement, but this phase also taught us a lot. So moving forward, we aim to improve our workflow and product quality through better teamwork and communication.
And that is all of our presentation. Thank you very much for listening.